bent over and started writing on the ground with his finger. They kept on asking Jesus about the woman. Finally, he stood up and said,
"If any of you have never sinned, then go ahead and throw the first stone at her."
Once again he bent over and began writing on the ground. The people left, one by one, beginning with the oldest one in the crowd. Finally, Jesus and the woman were there alone. Jesus stood up and asked her,
"Where is everyone? Isn't there anyone left to accuse you?"
"No, sir,"
the woman answered. Then Jesus told her,
"I am not going to accuse you either. You may go now, but don't sin anymore."
Once again Jesus spoke to the people. This time he said,
"I am the light for the world. Follow me, and you won't be walking in the dark. You will have the light that gives life."
The Pharisees objected.
You are the only one speaking for yourself, and what you say isn't true.
Jesus replied,
"Even if I do speak for myself, what I say is true. I know where I came from and where I am going, but you don't know where I am from or where I am going. You judge in the same way that everyone else does, but I don't judge anyone. If I did judge, I would judge fairly, because I would not be doing it alone. The Father who sent me is here with me. Your law requires 2 witnesses to prove that something is true. I am one of my witnesses, and the Father who sent me is the other one."
"Where is your Father?"
they asked Jesus.
"You don't know me or my Father."
Jesus answered,
"If you knew me, you would know my Father."
Jesus said this while he was still teaching in the place where the temple treasures were stored. But no one arrested him, because his time had not yet come. Jesus also told them,
"I am going away, and you will look for me. But you cannot go where I am going, and you will die with your sins unforgiven."
The Jewish leaders asked,
"Does he intend to kill himself? Is that what he means by saying we cannot go where he is going?"
Jesus answered,
"You are from below, but I am from above. You belong to this world, but I don't. That is why I said you will die with your sins unforgiven. If you don't have faith in me for who I am, you will die, and your sins will not be forgiven."
Who are you?
they asked Jesus. Jesus answered,
"I am exactly who I told you at the beginning. I have a lot more to say about you, especially about all the evil you have done. The one who sent me is truthful, and I tell the people of this world only what I have heard from him."
No one understood that Jesus was talking to them about the Father. Jesus went on to say,
"When you have lifted up the Son of Man, you will know who I am. You will also know that I don't do anything on my own. I say only what my Father taught me. The one who sent me is with me. I always do what pleases him, and he will never leave me."
After Jesus said this, many of the people put their faith in him. Jesus told the people who had faith in him,
"If you keep on obeying what I have said, you truly are my disciples. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free."
They answered,
"We are Abraham's children. We have never been anyone's slaves. How can you say we will be set free?"
Jesus replied,
"I tell you for certain that anyone who sins is a slave of sin, and slaves don't stay in the family forever, though the Son will always remain in the family. If the Son gives you freedom, you are free. I know that you are from Abraham's family, yet you want to kill me, because my message is not really in your hearts. I am telling you what my Father has shown me, just as you are doing what your father has taught you."
The people said to Jesus,
"Abraham is our father."
Jesus replied,
"If you were Abraham's children, you would do what Abraham did. Instead, you want to kill me for telling you the truth that God gave me. Abraham never did anything like that, but you are doing exactly what your father does."
Don't accuse us of having someone else as our father.
They said.
We just have one Father, and He is God.
Jesus answered,
If God were your Father, you would love me, because I came from God, and only from Him. He sent me. I did not come on my own. Why can't you understand what I am talking about? Can't you stand to hear what I am saying? Your father is the devil, and you do exactly what he wants. He has always been a murderer and a liar. There is nothing truthful about him. He speaks on his own, and everything he says is a lie. Not only is he a liar himself, but he is also the father of all lies. Everything I have told you is true, and you still refuse to have faith in me. Can any of you accuse me of sin? If you cannot, why won't you have faith in me? After all, I am telling you the truth. Anyone who belongs to God will listen to his message. But you refuse to listen because you don't belong to God.
The people told Jesus,
We were right to say that you are a Samaritan and that you have a demon in you.
Jesus answered,
I don't have a demon in me. I honor my Father, and you refuse to honor me. I don't want honor for myself, but there is one who wants me to be honored, and he is also the one who judges. I tell you for certain that if you obey my words, you will never die.
Then the people said,
Now we are sure that you have a demon. Abraham is dead, and so are the prophets. How can you say that no one who obeys your words will ever die? Are you greater than our father Abraham? He died, and so did the prophets. Who do you think you are?
Jesus replied,
If I honored myself, it would mean nothing. My Father is the one who honors me. You claim that he is your God, even though you don't really know him. If I said I didn't know him, I would be a liar just like all of you. But I know him, and I do what he says. Your father Abraham was really glad to see me.
You are not even 50 years old.
They said,
How could you have seen Abraham?
Jesus answered,
I tell you for certain that even before Abraham was, I was, and I am.
The people picked up stones to kill Jesus, but he hid and left the temple. John 9. As Jesus walked along, he saw a man who had been blind since birth. Jesus' disciples asked,
Teacher, why was this man born blind? Was it because he or his parents sinned?
No, it wasn't.
Jesus answered,
But because of this, you will see God work a miracle for him. As long as it is day, we must do what the one who sent me wants me to do. When night comes, no one can work. While I am in the world, I am the light for the world.
After Jesus said this, he spit on the ground. He made some mud and smeared it on the man's eyes. Then he said,
Go and wash off the mud in Siloam pool.
The man went and washed in Siloam, which means one who is sent. When he had washed off the mud, he could see. The man's neighbors and the people who had seen him begging wondered if he really could be the same man. Some of them said he was the same beggar, while others said he only looked like him. But he told them, I am that man.
Then how can you see?
They asked. He answered,
Someone named Jesus made some mud and smeared it on my eyes. He told me to go and wash it off in Siloam pool. When I did, I could see.
Where is he now?
They asked.
I don't know.
He answered. The day when Jesus made the mud and healed the man was a Sabbath. So the people took the man to the Pharisees. They asked him how he was able to see, and he answered,
Jesus made some mud and smeared it on my eyes. Then after I washed off the mud, I could see.
Some of the Pharisees said,
This man Jesus does not come from God. If he did, he would not break the law of the Sabbath.
Others asked,
How could someone who is a sinner work such a miracle?
Since the Pharisees could not agree among themselves, they asked the man,
What do you say about this one who healed your eyes?
He is a prophet.
The man told them. But the Jewish leaders would not believe that the man had once been blind. They sent for his parents and asked them,
Is this the son that you said was born blind? How can he now see?
The man's parents answered,
We are certain that he is our son, and we know that he was born blind, but we don't know how he got his sight or who gave it to him. Ask him. He is old enough to speak for himself.
The man's parents said this because they were afraid of the Jewish leaders. The leaders had already agreed that no one was to have anything to do with anyone who said Jesus was the Messiah. The leaders called the man back and said,
Swear by God to tell the truth. We know that Jesus is a sinner.
The man replied,
I don't know if he is a sinner or not. All I know is that I used to be blind, but now I can see.
What did he do to you?
The Jewish leaders asked.
How did he heal your eyes?
The man answered,
I have already told you once, and you refused to listen. Why do you want me to tell you again? Do you also want to become his disciples?
The leaders insulted the man and said,
You are his follower. We are followers of Moses. We are sure that God spoke to Moses, but we don't even know where Jesus comes from.
The man replied,
How strange. He healed my eyes, and yet you don't know where he comes from. We know that God listens only to people who love and obey him. God doesn't listen to sinners. And this is the first time in history that anyone has ever given sight to someone born blind. Jesus could not do anything unless he came from God.
The leaders told the man,
You have been a sinner since the day you were born. Do you think you can teach us anything?
Then they said,
You can never come back into any of our meeting places.
When Jesus heard what had happened, he went and found the man. Then Jesus asked,
Do you have faith in the Son of Man?
He replied,
Sir, if you will tell me who he is, I will put my faith in him.
You have already seen him.
Jesus answered,
And right now he is talking with you.
The man said,
Lord, I put my faith in you.
Then he worshipped Jesus. Jesus told him,
I came to judge the people of this world. I am here to give sight to the blind and to make blind everyone who sees.
When the Pharisees heard Jesus say this, they asked,
Are we blind?
Jesus answered,
If you were blind, you would not be guilty. But now that you claim to see, you will keep on being guilty.
John 10. Jesus said,
I tell you for certain that only thieves and robbers climb over the fence instead of going in through the gate to the sheep pen. But the gatekeeper opens the gate for the shepherd, and he goes in through it. The sheep know their shepherd's voice. He calls each of them by name and leads them out. When he has led out all of his sheep, he walks in front of them, and they follow, because they know his voice. The sheep will not follow strangers. They don't recognize a stranger's voice, and they run away.
Jesus told the people this story, but they did not understand what he was talking about. Jesus said,
I tell you for certain that I am the gate for the sheep. Everyone who came before me was a thief or a robber, and the sheep did not listen to any of them. I am the gate